There are a few things that Black Ops 7 needs to have in order for it to be infinitely better than Black Ops 6. And I actually have compiled a list of things that I personally want to see in this Black Ops 7 game to make it stand out from Black Ops 6, because obviously it's the same engine, it's back-to-back years, so how can they make it feel completely different and make it even better? The main thing that you're going to notice on my list is map unique things. That is something that Modern Zombies has desperately needed, and yes, they have a few Easter eggs here and there on the Tomb and the Reckoning that make them unique, but that's just scratching the surface, because if we look back at classic Zombies, every single map was completely different, and if you wanted to do a certain thing or get a certain item, you would have to play a certain map, and that is something that is sorely lacking in Modern Zombies, and I think if Black Ops 7 does this correctly, we can be back fully 100% to how it used to be in terms of map quality. Now, my first gripe is the crafting table. The crafting table itself is not bad, but the fact that you can get everything in every map is a problem. And I think if they can just add different score streaks or different equipment to different maps that you can only get on that map, it would immediately fix the crafting table issue that we're already seeing. So maybe you can only get monkey bombs on certain maps, but you can get Casimirs on others, or you can't get mutant injections on certain maps, but you can on others. That is something that is important to adding variety to the gameplay, because every map is the exact same in Black Ops 6 when it comes to the crafting table and how the map is played. I also think they need to stop adding all DLC weapons to the mystery box, because it adds such a massive pool of weapons. But obviously they're not going to do that, so what they can do is change the weapon list or weapon set per map. So if each map has 30 weapons in the mystery box, they can be different weapons throughout the whole year, so that it's not just getting convoluted and having 90 weapons, which lowers your chances overall. So if your last map has just the DLC weapons, it at least changes the box a little bit from launch, and then they've got to stick with that so that the box is always different and unique in every single map. Another thing that would really help out with map uniqueness is unique enemies for every single map. We started to see this in Black Ops 6, but then they just copy and pasted the same enemies over and over. So if you want to play the Reckoning, you're going to have the same mini-boss as Citadel, the Doppelgast. I understand that they're trying to be cohesive with the story, but it makes killing the bosses the same on every map, which again hurts the uniqueness of that map. We also need more map unique gameplay. I think the Reckoning is the only one that started to scratch the surface with this, with the anti-grav room. But everything else, in every other room, in every other part of every other map, was the exact same. It all felt the same, which hinders the ability from a map being A tier to S tier. A map cannot be S tier if it feels like every other map in the game, and I think that is a huge problem. And if we look back at, for instance, Zetsubo no Shima with the seed system and the watering system and how to turn on power is completely different than Der Eisendrache, and it's also different from Gorod Krovi, which makes it so you have to learn a completely different system per map, making that map unique. They are on the right track with map unique settings, like the atmosphere. Obviously, every map in Black Ops 6 looks completely different, but looks can only go a certain distance, because although the Reckoning doesn't look anything like Terminus, it plays the exact same besides a few traps around and Easter eggs. And that is something that needs to be fixed seriously, because if the map doesn't feel different and play different, then it's basically the same with just a different layout and a filter or a different time of day with some rain in it. I think another thing that they need to seriously focus on is unique side quests. The Reckoning had the Ether Blade and the Tomb had Golden Armor, but they need to do that for every single map, and they also have to make it cohesive with the story, just like Old Zombies was, because if they don't, it's not going to make any sense. And that is something that's important to a map being unique. Look at Mob of the Dead versus Buried. They're completely different. One has Afterlife, which can get you to certain Easter eggs, whereas the other one doesn't. And if they're going to make maps unique, that's something they need to focus on heavily. I also think it's important to not have all of the same perks available on every single map. I think they have struck a good idea with the Wonder Fizz only being available after round 25, but you can just get any perk anytime you want on any map. And I think that's a problem because you just go through the same motions every single game of getting every single perk. Whereas if there are different perks per different map, it gives you different strategies to run. For instance, let's say PhD is only available on 3 of the maps. The other 3 maps, you got to be ready to change your strategy and how you play that map because PhD literally is not available, even through the Wonder Fizz. And that's something that will also contribute to map uniqueness, which, again, the big stressor I'm focusing on here is map unique gameplay. Because if they don't feel different, it just gets stale. And I'm a huge proponent for Modern Zombies. I think Black Ops 6 was phenomenal, and I love playing it. But I can't lie to myself and say that the maps didn't all feel the same when it came to gameplay. Mutant Injection, every map. Get PhD with GS45s, every map. There was no difference. And that is something that made the replayability of certain maps weak for a lot of players. I think they also need to add new gobblegums and new augments, but also remove augments and remove gobblegums that were in Black Ops 6 so that it feels unique from Black Ops 7 and Black Ops 6's atmosphere within perks and gobblegums. Get rid of some gobblegums that we had in Black Ops 6 and only have them available for Black Ops 6, because if everything's the same, it's basically just like you're buying a DLC to the game that you had before. I think it's very important to make every map different. And that's why I'm stressing it so much, but there are a few things that I would like to add outside of map unique features, because there are a few things that I do think should change. I think we definitely need a Newton's Cookbook, because without Newton's Cookbook, I end up with a million insta-kill gobblegums that I could totally trade in to get maybe a Wonder Bar, but I can't. And if they want to do it like Black Ops 3 where they monetize the distills that it takes, so you only have 3 Newton's Cookbook uses a day and you have to buy more if you want to use more, that's fine. I don't care if they monetize things. It's a business. They need to make money. I understand that. But no Newton's Cookbook is a huge loss and a huge waste of potential that the Gobblegum system could have. I think it's important to continue bettering your quests. I think we saw this throughout the year of Black Ops 6. The quests got more elaborate and harder to complete or solve throughout the year, and I think that is a great direction. It took us over 12 hours to solve Reckoning, but it only took a few hours to solve Liberty, and I think that's huge that they're progressing towards that, and they need to get harder with their Easter eggs. And that's why I think almost comparing Black Ops 6 to Black Ops 1 is a good idea, whereas Black Ops 7 will be like a Black Ops 2, where they're progressing and they're getting better at changing systems so that the game has more depth to it. That is what we want. We want this game to have more depth, because yes, you can change the map setting and the map Easter egg, but if you're not changing everything else about that map and its unique qualities, then why would I play one map over another? Why would I play Liberty Falls over the Tomb? Why would I play Citadel over Reckoning if they're the exact same gameplay-wise? This is why people aren't being moved by certain maps, whereas they used to be moved. A map would resonate with a person, but now they don't, because there is no reason to resonate with that person, because it's the exact same as all the other maps in the game. This is why map uniqueness is literally essential for Zombies to succeed. I think the maps look visually different and the atmosphere is visually different in Black Ops 6, but since they play the same, they all end up feeling the same. And that is why I think it's essential to focus on that, and if they can do that with Black Ops 7, we truly will have a phenomenal game, because Black Ops 6 was phenomenal, but it could be better. And Black Ops 7 has a very important opportunity to capitalize on being better than Black Ops 6 instead of just more maps added to the same exact game. Anyway, those are my thoughts. If you have a specific thought or an opinion, I'd love to hear it. I try to respond to every single comment. Let me know if you agree or if you disagree, and thanks for watching.